And so those big companies, they don't want this to happen, right? They want to keep all the control. They want to keep all the money. And so we're fighting a fight to really distribute that and make something that's truly like a community-owned game, which is the way I like to think about it. So there's really kind of three main focal points that we have, right? And so the original version of SolForge, we were the first trading card game to ever come to mobile. I want to find people who are genuinely enthusiastic about the game, give them opportunities to share their love and their enthusiasm and make that easier and more fun for them, right? That's the high-level version.
What does 2025 look like building Web3 gaming? How do you think that you're going to be able to expand the economy, the gamers, the users?
But it's hard, man. I've been doing this for 25 years. Richard's been doing it for 40 plus years before we even thought about coming to Web3. I mean, we had the vision, but we wanted to make sure that the game was first. And so I think the future of Web3, quote unquote, Web3 gaming is about...
We're live from the Solana Creator House, and I got one of the legends in Solana, Bing SolForge Fusion, a game that's been all over the timelines, a game that everybody's talking about. And I was like, oh my God, I need the alpha. I need it here in San Francisco. So I was like, yo, Justin, I was like, please tell me you're coming to San Fran. He was like, hey, I'm not just coming. I'm coming. I'm bringing it all. He was like, hey, you ready to throw down? And I said, man, I don't want to take your money like that. And he was like, no, this is this guy. I don't know who he is. We are here with Justin from SolForge Fusion. Justin, give me that 30-second. Nothing Web3. What did you do in Web2? Who are you? Give the crowd what they want to hear.
Yeah, man. Listen, I've been a gamer and making a living from games for 25 years. I started off as a 17-year-old. I was the youngest ever Magic the Gathering U.S. national champion. I traveled around the world, winning the World Team Championship 6 years later. And then now I have partnered with the creator of Magic the Gathering, Richard Garfield, to bring SolForge Fusion to life.
Yeah, 25 years. You're like, what, 30 though? 30.
Yeah, that's right. I started when I was 5 years old.
Hey, you told me to say that, so you gotta...
I appreciate that. I got you some SFG for you.
Yo, what a career. What a resume. I think this is the type of things that I get bullish about, right? I get bullish when a founder tells me they've been in gaming. Hey, they've built something before. They've won something before. They've experienced what gaming is really, truly has gotten you to that level. I think that is one of the things in Web3 gaming sometimes we don't get to hear or see. And I'm really excited to just expand how that experience was that led you to SolForge Fusion.
Yeah, so I'll tell you the story, man, because it's a really fun one, right? So when I first started in the industry, going from being a pro player, right, to being a designer, very different skill sets, right? Learning how to make games that are fun for other people as opposed to trying to break the game and, win money for myself. And so I had to teach myself all those skills, and I started working on other games. I designed a Marvel trading card game and DC trading card game. I helped design the World of Warcraft trading card game and a World of Warcraft miniatures game. I worked on major brands, Bakugan, supported Yu-Gi-Oh!, worked on a lot of major brands before I decided I was ready. I learned enough to start off on my own. And I actually captured all that stuff in a book called Think Like a Game Designer and a free podcast. So I teach other people how to do this stuff now because I think it's so important for everybody out there that wants to be a creator, that's watching these kinds of channels is thinking, man, could that be me? I had to struggle to figure that out, and I want to try to make that easier for other people. So then I quit that job and I started my own company. 15 years ago, I launched my own game called Ascension, which some of you may have heard of. We are celebrating our 15-year anniversary this year. We're launching a new expansion. That stuff is continuing to grow. And that was a big moment for me. And then the year after that, so now we're going back to 2011, I was at a conference like this one, the developer conference, and I was going and I gave a talk, and I got to listen to Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic the Gathering, give a talk. And this is like, okay, I'm gonna go sit at the feet of the master. I'm taking notes in the crowd with everybody else. And at the end there was a Q&A, and in the Q&A where they asked him, well, what's your favorite game right now? And he said, Ascension, my game. I lost it. I literally jumped up like a kid in a candy store, woohoo, jumping in the background. Everybody laughed, right? But that gave me my moment. That gave me my opportunity to go and talk to him. And so afterwards, I started talking to him. Hey, I'm Justin. I created Ascension. And we started talking, and we talked for 3 hours straight. And you know what we talked about? SolForge. That was the thing that became SolForge. So that's 14 years ago that became the inspiration for this. And Richard and I both share a passion for not just creating a great game, but creating a great game that evolves the technology and evolves what gaming is. So Magic was the first trading card game. The idea that you could own your cards and the collectible objects let you play a game, nobody had even thought of that before him, right? And so the original version of SolForge, we were the first trading card game to ever come to mobile. And we built a whole new system around that. SolForge Fusion is not just a Web3 trading card game, but it's actually a hybrid game that's never existed before. We use new technology to digitally print cards. So every single physical pack that you open is one of a kind just to you. All those cards can be played in a regular tabletop game and have that experience, or they can be scanned in your online account so you have a one-to-one collection to your digital account. And then that lets you play it as a classic Web 2 game. Again, don't have to talk about the Web 3 part at all. You could just play it for free on Steam. And then now we partnered with Solana to connect and give you that full access of really digitally owning your cards. Just like Magic introduced the idea of physically owning cards, we introduced that idea of being able to digitally own your cards as a one-to-one collection that you can trade, sell, earn, do all the fun things that made Magic so great. And now we're bringing that into the future.
Justin, I don't know if you and I are on the same timelines, but they've been saying Web3 gaming is dead. Like, they're saying Web3 gaming is done. This is the last cycle. And here you are telling us the way and the approach of the way that you've been thinking, the way that you've been building and how it's being built, and the success that your game is having on the timelines. I have to ask, like, what's the chaos? Why is it that these creative or, ecosystem players, anybody that's saying Web3 gaming is dead, why is that even such a thing when there's games already the success? Man, like for me, it's like Web3 users, Web2 users, how do we bring them together? And you've got a product here that is currently the bridge to most of what the issues are in the space.
Right. Yeah, so listen, this is a deeper answer, so if you don't mind, I'm going to go into it a little bit, right? Because it matters, right? I think we're fighting for the soul of gaming right now, like literally fighting for the soul of gaming. The reason why I decided to come into Web3 with this game is because what I saw is a trend of increasing centralization, of decreasing control, of decreasing player ownership, where games like Magic Arena and Hearthstone and Marvel Snap, which are all really awesome games I love to play, but you don't own anything. Every single dollar you put in is gone, lost forever, completely controlled by them. They can do whatever they want with it. And I think that sucks. I don't want to see that. I want to see players control things and players have true ownership, just like with Magic. In my early days of Magic, those cards were mine. I could do what I want with them. And the players got to survive and thrive based on the success of the game. That because it becomes part of your identity, right? Like who I was as a Magic player. The people who play SolForge Fusion, that becomes a part of who they are. It's the friendships that we built. It's the things that we're being able to connect with around here. And being able to participate in the upside and the ecosystem of that, I think is really important. And so those big companies, they don't want this to happen, right? They want to keep all the control. They want to keep all the money. And so we're fighting a fight to really distribute that and make something that's truly like a community-owned game, which is the way I like to think about it. And so I think there are good reasons that people are like, Web3 gaming is dead or have suspicions, right? Because a lot of the early Web3 game designs were not made by real game designers. Let's be honest, right? There are people who were trying to make money, or there were some rug pulls, and there were some people who thought, even people who were honest and wanted to make something good. But it's hard, man. I've been doing this for 25 years. Richard's been doing it for 40 plus years, right? We put the time in to make a great game, and we launched the game first, right? SolForge Fusion itself has been around. We've been working on it for 14 years. This is not an easy task. And we launched the physical game first. We launched the physical game to prove the game concept, to build the community. And that was October of 2022. And we sold over 1 million decks before we even launched the digital game, before we even thought about coming to Web3. I mean, we had the vision, but we wanted to make sure that the game was first. And so I think the future of Web3, quote unquote, Web3 gaming is about bringing the ownership back into players' hands, letting people really feel the value of a community that they're a part of, that they own, that they have some control over. And frankly, showing that great games can live across the things, right? The ideal future that I see is not you own your stuff, but otherwise you can't even tell that something's a Web3 game. Like being able to build systems that's just like, it's just a great game. Oh, and as it turns out, I get to grow with the ecosystem. And that's something that I think Solana has been a big part of, right? We could have chosen any platform to go with. We could have chosen any blockchain to go with. And we partnered with Solana because they had a commitment to building something that was efficient, that was great for the players, that allowed us to bring in on board a lot of the Web2 players. And it's something we're happy to continue to grow.
If you're watching this and you're not bullish, like, I don't know what else you want. Like, what else do you need? Did you just hear what he said? The real way of building a video game. Oh my God, game developers, God, like Web3 gaming, please wake up. Like, this is the alpha that you needed. You wanted to find a true developer that understands the audience. That is the missed thing in Web3. The missed audience, the missed alignment with the audience. And you just solved it. You just said it, right? It's how do you connect with them? How do you work with them? How do you give them the product that they need to see? Look, I guess it's clear to me that I need to make sure I unfollow anybody that says Web3 gaming is dead. And if you are watching this, you probably should do the same. You should probably follow SolForge Fusion. You probably should turn your notifications on. And if whatever you're doing, you're at a dinner with a date, guess what? And you see the notification on, you tell them, please wait 1 second. Gotta like and comment because it's free. So make sure you're doing that today. Justin, okay, you unpacked. I mean, like, this is jam-packed. You told Solana, you love Solana. Sounds like it made a perfect marriage. What does 2025 look like building Web3 gaming? What are you really looking forward to for SolForge Fusion? How do you think that you're going to be able to expand the economy, the gamers, the users. Again, the trading packs, even in real life, how do you get to them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great question. So there's really kind of three main focal points that we have, right? Well, I'll say four, right? One is we've got to keep creating just great content, right? In the background of the screen, we've got Shadows Over Solace, which is the latest, the fourth expansion that we've put out there. It just released last week. So this is brand new cards, new fun stuff. Like that's the bread and butter of making collectible games. And we've been doing that forever. So we know how to do that. So that's something we're going to continue to do. Great content, great gameplay. The other three pillars here are, one, we got to make the game more accessible and bring more people in, right? The key and the challenge that I see with Web3 overall is that a lot of people get, they don't know about how to do a wallet and don't want to have to manage their own private keys and don't want to have to handle all that stuff. So we built SolForge Fusion so that a lot of that stuff is in the background and you don't have to worry about it. And we want to continue to make the connection easier so more people can come into Web3 through this game and be a part of the full ecosystem. Number two is actually building on the utility of the SFG token and building on the utility of the community. So that is the largest part of our SFG token pool is community controlled. It's designed, as I said, when I talk about this being a community-owned game, I'm not kidding around. The community has more power than I do when it comes to thinking how that gets distributed, what new events, what new supports we want to do, how we want to grow that ecosystem. And so setting up that community governance and starting to launch that is a big priority for 2025, as well as having new tools for staking and actually gamifying the process of using those tokens. So right now you can use the tokens to mint NFTs, you can use it to buy in-game items, but being able to also allow that to like influence the lore of the world, because you can stake behind Cersei and the Necrium faction and unlock some exclusive cosmetics and move that storyline forward is one of the really cool things we can do. So make that ecosystem grow both in governance and utility and everything that really fleshes out the Web3 side of the game, because that's been the most recent addition. So there's a lot more to build there. And the last thing that I'm really excited about is we're going to be expanding out to mobile. We're going to be expanding to new platforms. We've got a bunch of cool new partnerships, some of which I can't announce yet. But
dude, it's not recorded. Don't
oh,
worry.
okay,
Like,
yeah, nobody's listening. It's just you and me chatting.
Just
Oh,
a
good.
regular, day in San Francisco.
But like the philosophy behind SolForge Fusion is that you can play the same great game wherever you are, however you want. You want to play tabletop, you play tabletop. You want to play on PC, you play on PC. You want to collect and trade in Web3, you can do that. And then mobile is just such a key part of that, right? So I can just be playing when I'm hanging out and at home or on the couch, or playing when I'm traveling. So that is part of the plan for 2025 as well.
Man, I don't even know. If you're watching this and you don't have your notifications on, if you haven't gotten your card deck, like, I don't know what you're doing, and you might be understanding why you're probably Web3 gaming is that, because my Web3 gaming is very much alive. So Justin, look, all right, 2025, you're here at San Francisco, you're here at GDC. Tell me, what is it this week that you're looking to accomplish? What is it that is there something on the events calendar that you got circled that you're like, I'm not going to miss this? The freaking taxi gets stuck at the light. There's traffic. You're getting out and you're like, I'm still making this event.
Yeah. It's funny, man. That event just happened right before we started recording. So like we actually had a massive SolForge Fusion tournament, partnered with the 100X guys. They ran the thing. They brought tons of people in. We got to show not only like new people the game who hadn't experienced it, people who've been playing online and been making friends and playing the game online who had never gotten to play the physical version of the game, getting to see them and interact. And that's really like speaks to the bigger point of like why I'm here at GDC, because I've built so many like relationships and so many great connections. You and I even gotten to chat a couple of times, but there's no substitute for being in the same place and having that physical connection. And again, it ties back into what we're trying to do with SolForge Fusion. Like, yeah, there's the convenience of playing digitally, the fact that we are a global community and that we have, my team is fully distributed and remote and that we can all have access to that. That's great. But there's no substitute for just like getting to hang out and like be a real human. And so we've been hanging out with the Wolves Den guys, we've been hanging out with the 100X guys, we've been hanging out with a lot of our friends and building these real human relationships. And that's why I came here. And we've already been doing that all week. I'm excited to keep doing it because, at the end of the day, what the technology, all the different things we could talk about, all the cool features we could talk about, the reason you're going to play a game like SolForge Fusion, the reason you're going to stay with it is because of the community, because of the relationships, because of the friendships that you build, right? My career started as a pro Magic player, and sure, I was playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sure, I was traveling around the world. Sure, I loved the game, but I would never have stuck with it. What mattered is those friendships that I built. Some of those people who are now working with me at my company today, people who I've had friendships. I literally had dinner last night with somebody I've been friends with for 27 years. He showed me a photo of me, little 18-year-old me, freaking from those early days, and that's what like lights me up, and that's what I want to create, right? That's because Ascension, my game's been around for 15 years. I have people come up to me at the show that say, hey, I now play this game with my daughter who's 13 and we connect together over that. She wasn't even born when I made that game, right? And so, Magic has done that, SolForge Fusion has done that. So here at GDC, just like real, genuine human connections, that's why I'm here.
Oh, man, I love hearing it. I love the hearing it, but also seeing it, right? I've seen a lot of the chatters. I saw that, the 100X tournament today. I saw everybody going there. I have complete FOMO now for not going. Complete FOMO, but unfortunately I was here because I was like, if I get stuck in a taxi and I don't make this meeting, well, guess what? I was going to have to run. And let me tell you something, I don't run. So I was like, oh, no, I better stay here. But look, Justin, you're talking about a lot user acquisition. You mentioned being at this conference. Is there any other conference that you're looking to attend? Is it Web 2 conferences? Is it Web 3 conferences? Where do you see yourself in 2025 of, hey, how do I still work with product market fit? How do I work with user acquisition? How do I keep understanding different cultures, different gamers, all of that? Is there a strategy or something you're like, hey, yeah, Gamescom, Tokyo, whatever that is?
Yeah, so this is again, man. You've asked a lot of great questions. I could spend an hour just talking about the answers to this. So I'll give you, kind of a compressed answer, which is user acquisition and trying to get attention for a game is harder than it's ever been. Right? Building games is easier than it's ever been, which is wonderful. But getting attention and being able to know how to market and reach is very, very difficult. And so I'm not going to claim to have the answer, but our strategy and how we think about it is, I want to find people who are genuinely enthusiastic about the game, give them opportunities to share their love and their enthusiasm and make that easier and more fun for them, right? That's the high level version. And so some of that was we're going to go to, you talked about Web 2, Web 3, different events. We go to all different kinds, right? So just before this, I was at ETH Denver a couple weeks ago, right? And we had a big tabletop event there, and it was amazing to watch. We had 80, 100 people that would just walk by and be like, wait, what the hell is that? I'm used to just looking at things on screens. And so they came by and they were so cool. We had events that they could just show up and play and get connected. And that was a really great moment because it was something different that could click for the people who remembered and have nostalgia for Pokemon or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever games you used to play. They could see and have this experience and draw them in. When I come to a Web 2 event, which is, GDC is a little more Web 2 focused, right? We're kind of the Web 3 outskirts here. Then I'm speaking to a different kind of audience and bringing those people in who have a little bit more of the competitive edge, a little bit more of the insiders, right? And kind of speaking to them with our high level tournament series and being able to have these kinds of activations which draw people in. So it's a little bit more of an intimate experience, a little bit more of an elite experience. And we also have a huge presence in tabletop gaming, right? Because that's been my bread and butter for many years, right? We go to events like Gen Con and we go to events like PAX Unplugged and other ones, and all the PAX events really, where we can for them the physical stuff's not actually that that's not that unique. But then when I show them the magic of scanning that one card and your whole deck appears in the online account and you can play with an algorithmically generated campaign, level up your decks and do all that, blows their minds, right? And so I go into these different audiences and then I try to show them the aspect of the game that's really going to light them up. And then for the specific people that get lit up, I empower them to be community and sharing, and I empower them we have our Forge Guardian program, which is where you can kind of get a lot of alpha there. You get to see stuff before anybody else does. You get to help share. You get promoted in our community. And we have new programs coming in, including friend referrals and all of these different things that basically, I think games like this don't survive because I market and I say, buy this game. It's because your friend says, oh my God, dude, you got to try this game. This is amazing. And so we put all these hooks out there. We put interactive story. We put the fact that every deck's one of a kind. We put this cool gameplay, high level tournaments, prizes. We put everything out there. And those are just hooks for you to find the thing that you're like, oh my God, really? Is that cool? I want to play that. And then you tell your friends and you bring them in and you grow it. So the marketing strategy, if I'm going to put it in a kind of single sentence, is I'm going to find the way to light people up. I'm going to empower those people to grow our community and get people into our game.
Justin, I run a marketing agency called The Gaming Strategist. If you decide you want to leave SolForge Fusion, let me tell you something. We'll hire you right now. I mean, you'll sign the contract right now. I mean, I love it. Look, I love the way that I love the analysis. I love the thinking behind it. I think that it's very well thought out. It seems that, this isn't the first rodeo either. And I think that trials and tribulations are very much being explained to us right here front and center on the camera that, hey, this is the right way to UA. This is the right way to strategies. And I think that, going forward as the game even develops more, all these features, right? I'll tell you this, my timeline is telling me to go play SolForge Fusion. So it is working, right? And it's exactly why I said, hey, we need to get SolForge Fusion on the show today. And so I go into now what everything 2025, where do you come back to and say, what are the obstacles that you are facing as a game developer in today's current state? You mentioned AI, how much it's helped games, but also hurt how hard it is to get the attention. The attention span has gone down. I was with my niece and she literally had TikTok open and I'm sitting next to her and she's like, tap, tap, tap. And I'm like, you know, you have to watch the video, right? I literally said to her, I was like, you know, you have to watch the video for at least like 3 seconds. Be like, she was like going, and I was like, wow. And that just made me think, like, if we're marketing and like the videos that we're putting out 30 seconds long, who's even watching it if the new generation? So there is a change of the way of marketing is being established for video games. What are your take on being able to say, hey, what's this challenge you are going to be facing this year? Is there a challenge even with what you're building right now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, listen, and nobody that's built anything does not have a million challenges that they could list off at any point. Yeah,
No, man,
crazy,
this is like the easiest
crazy,
place. Like,
no
something
problem.
go up, we all happy.
Yeah,
No one's upset.
all upside, no problems. Yeah, no, and so there's always these challenges. I mean, the one we talked about is the number one thing, right? How do you get user acquisition? How do you get people's attention, right? There's two resources I think are the most important things when you're talking. I don't care if you're talking about Web3, you're talking about the planet overall, and it's attention and trust, right? And so we have the trust part, right? We had to bring our Web 2 community over, and that was really hard, right? When we first announced we were doing Web 3 elements, we got a lot of hate, we got review bombed, but like, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I put myself out front to be like, hey, this is why we're doing it. This is what's here. I'm around for the long haul. Here's where the value is. And so being able to communicate that to that audience was a big deal. And in Web 3, right, a lot of while I've got a reputation, and Richard's got a reputation in Web 2 and in tabletop, don't have as much in Web 3. So I've had to build that trust here too, right? They see if you're going to invest in us for the long term, if you're going to, participate in the ecosystem, you want to build that trust. So being able to communicate that, and events like this is one of the reasons why I'm excited about it. Like, genuine connections, just be real with why I'm here, what we're doing. And if you believe in that and you can trust in that, then that's a big deal. And that's a big part of what's going to keep people in for the long term. And you're totally right. Like, attention spans are short. Not only is it that you can only have a few seconds of a video to get somebody's attention, but also they're going to just, like, the new hotness is just like, oh, here's a new thing. Oh, I saw a new thing. And they're going to leave and go do something else, right? So when I talk about, like, lighting people up and letting them be our advocates and letting them be the ones that bring people in, it's really about building for the long haul. And so as a creator, you got to be able to manage, like, manage your burn rate, manage your development cycle, manage the things where it's like, hey, when everything's booming and there's everybody's making money, great, cool. But that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you hit some winters. Sometimes you got some periods where you got to go. So we're trying to build something where we're going to be having conversations about SolForge Fusion 10 years from now, right? And what that path looks like, I can't tell you exactly, right? Because it's going to be ups and downs. Here we go. This is it. And so just being comfortable with that. So one of my mantras is cultivate comfort with uncertainty and impermanence. Because we all want to know, right? We want the alpha. We want to know the answer. I want to know for sure this token price is going to go up. I want to know for sure my game's going to be a success. And nobody does know that, right? I've been doing this long enough, that I know that that's the case. But I do know that if you continue to work hard, if you're honest with your community, if you you just keep building and you're very thoughtful about how you make your choices, how you make your bets, then it's going to work out over the long term. And so I just sort of take that, we make strategic bets. I've been doing this a long time. So a lot of mistakes have taught me a lot of expensive lessons that I can apply to games like SolForge Fusion. But it's about that process of just being thoughtful. And when you do make mistakes, you own up to it too, man. Like, we've had problems, we've had bugs, we've had issues. We talk about it. I'm active in the Discord. People call me out on stuff. Totally right. That's totally fair. And we learn from it. We grow from it. And that can actually, in many ways, it can make you stronger, right? When you have to go through those dark periods, like the people that I work with, I know when like everything's booming and everything's going great, it's easy to be friends, man. It's easy to have everything go great. But when you hit those hard spots, that's when you learn the people that you can rely on. That's when you learn your character. That's when the community learns about who you are. And so that's something I really try to keep center of mind when I do face all of these challenges, whether it's user acquisition or, trying to manage this through whatever Web3's dead nonsense, right? So those kinds of things are something I always keep top of mind.
I'm going to go withdraw my application for McDonald's and go back and looking at Lambos on my screen because, hey, guess what? Web3 gaming is very much alive. Look, Justin, I think lots have been covered. Really, really excited for 2025 and the next 10 years, as you just clearly have said it. Let me ask you my last question here now. Blockchain, it's definitely technology. It's working with infrastructure. It's definitely a cost as well as a game developer to understand. What are you thinking that one of the bridges that still is very much needed or help that is needed in blockchain to really connect more gamers and users?
Yeah, so I mean, I think as a developer, right, I did a lot of research in the tools. Like there's, you could build a lot of that same functionality yourself that you could get from blockchain on private servers and try to do it that way. But it's very expensive. It's a lot of overhead and you don't have access to that community. So as a developer, I think the tools are pretty good and getting better. As a player, right, to bring that gaming community, right, to bring the hundreds of millions of gamers that aren't ready and aren't into Web3 yet, that stream, in essence, you need to make Web3 invisible. Right? It's a funny thing to say, like, what's cool about Web3 gaming? It'll be cool when you don't even know it's Web3 gaming. And what I mean by that is, like, when you say that your game runs on AWS, right, which is the Amazon server systems, most games have their platforms on AWS. Nobody cares. Nobody listening cares about that, but it works and it makes things better. And so now you want to say the exact same thing about Solana, right? Where I can just go and now I know that all my stuff is secure, all my stuff can be traded easily. I can have a network that's backed, that's trusted, that lets me connect to a broader community, and I don't even need to pay attention to it. So that's things like abstracted wallets. That's things like making better, just purely better user interface, UI, UX that people can get into, right? If you look at modern games in the Web 2 space, they invest so much in UI UX. They invested so much in making it very easy for you to try the game, to learn the game, to spend money in the game, all that stuff. And right now, Web3 is catching up. Web3 gaming is catching up to that. So I think the tools are better user interface and also just abstracting the whole idea of Web3 so that people who even hate on Web3 gaming will not even know it, and they're just going to be enjoying the game, enjoying what Web3 brings to the table without them ever having to like actually realize it and then like, okay, I guess I am now a Web3 gamer.
It sucks that these mics are, attached, because I would say this is the perfect part where you put the mic drop because, man, wow, Justin, you got to make sure you follow him. SolForge Fusion, got to make sure you follow him. You don't need me to tell you again, right? You already know. Give us last 30 seconds. What's the best way to keep up with the alpha? You mentioned there's an alpha Discord group. Make sure you tell us what website. What's the website? And I'll ask you one question. My boss is watching this, right? So I need to tell him what dates I need to take off because I'm going to be in the SolForge Fusion Discord, and I don't want him to be like, hey, what are you doing? So I'm just going to make sure that he knows live here on camera what days I'm going to be off.
Hell yeah. So yeah, SolForgeFusion.com is the hub for everything, right? That have a link to the Discord. You can download SolForge Fusion for free on Steam right now, so you can just access the game and play it and enjoy the experience. Come in and join the community. As I mentioned, Season 1 is live now, so you can actually play and earn. You can actually get and participate in our tournaments. We'll give you the dates for the tournaments. They're all available on SolForgeFusion.com, so you know what dates to take off. And if you want to connect with us, not just in the SolForge side, but you can connect with me, right? I'm on X, Justin_Gary. I teach about game design. I show what we're doing and give some alpha about what's headed up, what's up. And I'm also happy to help other developers out there too, right? Because I know this process ain't easy. And so we're going to keep building. We're going to keep growing. And I want to see this community continue to grow, whether it's hanging out in person in places like this or connecting online, and then down the road, come out to a physical tournament, come out and see me at a show, come play and really experience the game.
You got it there. Another episode here at the Solana Creator House. Another great developer on Solana. Another great game being built on Solana, only possible on Solana. Thank you for tuning in, and that's another episode. I don't know, Justin. I don't know. This is it. This is your last fight. Hey, man, you said you're going to get a Solana tattoo.
I did.
And right now, you know what? I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be a gentleman here. I think you should forfeit. And I don't want you to be on camera. I don't want you to, I don't want anybody to watch and see it live on the way you're going to lose. But yeah, I don't know, man.
I feel like I got robbed.
Do it. Let me see. Oh my God. You see, this is what happens when you make a bet with Jorge. Yay, only here at the Solana Creator House. We got Justin from SolForge Fusion. Make sure you give him a follow. And again, thanks for tuning in.